Deputy Minister of Finance, Mr. Asho Sarupen, Commissioner of the South African Revenue Service, Mr. Edward Kisvete, Directors General present here, SARS Exco and leadership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Greetings and welcome to the South African Revenue Service and to this multifunction center. My name is Johnston Makubu. I am the Deputy Commissioner for Taxpayer Engagement and Operations at SARS. It is my single honor to be your program director today. My job is to ensure that we are orderly and timely as we enjoy our session today. Allow me to also welcome those colleagues of ours that are joining us online. Of course, I'm one to selfishly guard operations, so some of our colleagues are joining us online, Mr. President, because the work still has to continue. But we welcome those colleagues that are joining us online. This event is very important to us. It is only a third visit by a head of state to our organization for the purpose of direct engagement with staff since its inception. And if we include the 25th year anniversary, indeed, it does become a momentous occasion that we are gathered here to celebrate your coming to visit us, Mr. President. I can assure you that 14,000 of our employees have been anxiously waiting for this opportunity to actually have you in our midst, and we are thrilled to have you here. We want to assure you that we continue as an organization to pursue what we call our higher purpose, which is to ensure that we work to ensure the building of a capable state that is able to meet the needs of its citizens, especially those that are the most vulnerable. This higher purpose links us so closely to yourself in particular, but to the rest of the state and the state machinery. At this point in time, I would like to take the opportunity to call on stage the SARS Commissioner to come and welcome and give his opening remarks. He needs no introduction, has been at the helm of this organization for almost 7 years and has transformed how we do business and how we envisioned the tax administration of the future. Help me welcome on stage, ladies and gentlemen, Commissioner Kisvete. Commissioner, over to you.
Your Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, Deputy Minister of Finance, Asho Sarupen, leaders of government, my colleague, DG Peterson, senior officials of the Presidency, colleagues of SARS, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a profound honor to welcome you to the South African Revenue Service today. I especially welcome our colleagues in the 2 adjacent rooms, as well as the thousands of our employees connected on our media platform across South Africa. Mr. President, your presence at SARS is deeply meaningful. It affirms the central role that a capable, ethical, and trusted tax and customs administration plays in safeguarding South Africa's constitutional democracy, enabling development, and protecting our fiscal integrity. We are especially honored, sir, that your visit coincides with a moment of reflection, not only on where we stand today, but on the journey we have traveled together over the past several years. When, through your intervention, this leadership chapter began in 2019, SARS emerged from a period of institutional breakdown that tested the very foundations of governance, integrity, and public confidence, leading to the subsequent decline in performance. The findings of the Nugent Commission of Inquiry, commissioned under your authority, were clear and sobering. They demanded not cosmetic repair, but fundamental renewal. Our response to your call was deliberate and uncompromising. We set out to rebuild SARS as a smart, modern revenue administration, but one that is ethical, trusted, admired, and effective. This was never about a short-term recovery. It was about building long-term institutional resilience anchored in our constitutional mandate to mobilize domestic resources and support the building of a capable developmental state that can serve the well-being of our people. Ethical leadership became the non-negotiable starting point of renewal. We rebuilt governance structures and repurposed leadership. We strengthened procurement and compliance frameworks. We took legal steps to recover misappropriated public funds. We reinstated critical operational capabilities, including the large business and high wealth segments, the integrity promotion and assurance function, as well as centralized litigation division. We established a dedicated division to deal with the illicit economy and criminal financial crime. At every point, our actions were guided by one principle: public institutions exist to private interests. The consistent record of clean audit and independent confirmation of this commitment. But rebuilding systems is not enough if you do not heal people. Our people matter most. We were intentional in addressing all people matters. SARS undertook a comprehensive process of organizational reparation for employees that were harmed during the compromise period. We established listening campaigns and pastoral engagements. Wrongful actions were acknowledged and corrected. We apologized where we needed to. Affected employees were reinstated and appropriate remedial support were provided. These were difficult but necessary steps to restore dignity, rebuild trust, and re-anchor our culture in respect and fairness. Today, SARS is powered by a workforce that is highly engaged, analytical, professional, diverse, and deeply committed to public service, remaining relevant in the age of artificial and agentic intelligence. Guided by the SARS leadership model, our talent pipeline and aligned our people practices with what we call the SARS Employee Rights Charter. Initiatives such as the Customs Junior Board, Women in Leadership, our cadet program, our SARS Has Talent initiative reflect our belief that inclusion, innovation, and opportunity are essential to a future-ready institution. People is our engine of excellence. Mr. President, SARS is undergoing a disruptive but deeply values-driven digital transformation. It is not simply changing how we work. It is transforming us to a different state of being. Aligned with the whole of government and whole of society approach, your administration, sir, has championed, our modernization agenda envisions a future where tax will just happen, seamlessly, automated, and trusted. Data science, artificial intelligence, and advanced risk engines are no longer our ambitions. They are our operational realities that protect the fiscus while improving service to honest taxpayers and traders. Agentic AI is giving us the ability to scale up a virtual workforce and free our people to serve society, apply ethical judgment, and ensure world-class outcomes. The results have been impactful and transformative. Since 2019, the fulfillment of our mandate has shown sustained and positive improvement. Revenue collection has grown consistently and outperformed the economy. Compliance effectiveness has strengthened markedly. Trade facilitation has expanded. Tax buoyancy has remained broadly positive. Through AI-enabled fraud detection, SARS has prevented the unlawful outflow of hundreds of billions of rands, protecting resources that belong to the people of South Africa. Equally important, public trust in SARS has risen significantly. Taxpayer service levels and employee engagement have improved, even amid economic pressure, budgetary constraints, and the disruption of global pandemics and geopolitical forces. These are not abstract metrics. They reflect the daily discipline, professionalism, and integrity with which SARS officials serve. Our work has been recognized through multiple independent awards for innovation, digital leadership, empowerment, and organizational excellence. We've been invited to serve at global leadership platforms. We are respected, admired, and hold our own amongst our international peers. But more than any accolade, what matters is the exemplification of true stewardship, leaving behind an institution that is stronger, more credible, and more resilient than we found it. As I close, Mr. President, SARS does not exist for itself. It exists to enable government to deliver, to protect the public purse, and to serve every South African with fairness and dignity. The journey of rebuilding SARS has demanded courage, consistency, and collective effort from political leadership, executive support, from our partners across government, and most importantly, the diligence of over 14,000 SARS, an immense debt of gratitude. As we look to the future, we do so with confidence, confident in our people, our values, our systems, and our shared commitment to constitutional governance. But we accept that the challenge to remain curious, to continually adapt, innovate, and grow, because our work is far from done. Permit me one personal reflection, sir. As my tenure as Commissioner draws to a close, I do so with deep gratitude to you, Mr. President, for the trust you placed in me in 2019, the ministers and now current Minister of Finance, the colleagues for their steadfast support, and above all, to the men and women of SARS who chose integrity, professionalism, and service, even when the task was hardest. What gives me enduring confidence is not what has been achieved, but what has been restored, an institution once again anchored in purpose, trusted by the public, and ready to serve South Africa long into the future. Mr. President, today we want to suggest to you that SARS is a proof of concept that public institutions that were hollowed out can not only be restored, but rendered future ready. To many hands and bright minds who assisted with today's preparation, it didn't all come about because of a flick of a finger. To them, I would like to say, Nkosi kakhulu, thank you for bringing this event about. And on behalf of the leadership and employees of the South African Revenue Service, sir, I thank you for your continued support. I extend to you, our minister, and all our guests, a warm welcome to SARS. Thank you. I would like to invite our Minister, Minister Enoch Godongwana, to make some remarks and then to invite you to the podium, sir. Age. I'm a young man. Thank you, sir.
Program Director, Dr. Makubo, Mr. President, thank you for taking the time. Deputy Minister Sarupen, High, why I'm saying High Commissioner?
Maybe you're posting me somewhere.
Commissioner,
No,
the DG of National Treasury, Dr. Duncan Peterson, senior officials from National Treasury, and senior executives of SARS, and your guests, and all of you. Today's President's Day is not mine. I'm going to make sure that over the next few months, I give myself my time without the President. Without the President. But what I want to say, what was an important thing is to show us in the screen all the different branches of SARS employees that are watching. I want to say to those employees, thank you to all of them. I want to say thank you. You've done splendid work over the years I've been here since 2021, in my 4th year now. You know, I said to the Treasury officials on the 10th of August when I took off, went to the office, I said, if you guys perform badly, I'll be a bad minister. But if you do a good job, I'll be a good minister. The unfortunate thing, the credit is going to be mine. The credit is going to be mine. And I think everybody believes that I'm a good minister, not because you've done good work. And for those reasons, I thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to ask the president to invite the president to come and address you. Mr. President. Oh, I must make sure that.
No. Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Minister of Finance, Deputy Minister of Finance, and High Commissioner. I say High Commissioner.
It's prophetic.
Now,
prophetic.
you know, that should not start making you ambitious that I'm about to appoint you as a High Commissioner in London or somewhere.
Why not, sir? Why not?
And the DG of Treasury and all key officials here, including the deputy commissioners. It's truly a great pleasure to be here and to see exactly what happens here. I was given a demonstration at the bottom, and I thought the commissioner was just boasting. Showed me a van and said, this van is SARS on wheels. It can go all over. And I don't come from a village, but my parents do. The minister comes from a village. Yes. And he would like that van to go to his village when he retires soon. It's a real joy to be here, and I can feel the And it's a great place, I think, to work in and to be at. I know a few people who are either relatives or friends or whatever who tell me that we work at SARS and what a wonderful environment it is. It's truly, truly demonstrated by your presence here and by the way that people seem to be very dedicated in what they do, including those that one sees on the screen. So it is a great, great honor and a privilege, really, to be here amongst you, particularly here at the National Command Centre, which is the engine room of the South African state. And you are the engine room for a whole number of reasons. South Africa would not exist without you, and that's for sure. What would we do without the work that you do to collect all the taxes, even as you collect taxes from me? So the South African Revenue Service occupies a unique and a critical role in the life of our nation, and in fact in the life of every South African, everyone who walks, moves and sleeps and wakes up in this country. It is at the heart of our efforts to build a capable state by strengthening compliance, collection into capability. It ensures that government resources for the delivery of the services that we need to deliver to South Africa. Structure to better the lives of our people, able to pay out those grants that we pay. As I go around the country and meet even old people, I continuously ask them, are you getting your grant? Are you getting your mundende? Are you getting your pension? they all say yes. But you know, they are very, very clever, these old people. They say, Mr. President, can you increase it a little bit more? So your work has an overarching impact. It is overall overarching, and it touches the lives of South Africans. So as you sit in front of your computer, as you are at customs, at the airport or the border, Bridge or Maseru or wherever, Libombo, just know that with your work, you are touching the lives of South Africans. SARS is a creation of our democracy. It is one of those institutions that we are most proud of for a whole host of reasons. And for nearly 30 years, sustained our democracy. Since SARS was established in 1997, it is easily know, because you are numbers people, 23 trillion in tax revenue development. Let me repeat. And it boggles the mind. It's a lot of money, and you have helped to collect it by harnessing new methods and better understanding of taxpayers. And let me say, understanding even with compassion and deference, and also helping taxpayers meet their compliance obligations. You have distinguished yourself, and you continue to distinguish yourself as an incredible organization. Don't do it as well as you do. You know, when the banks want their money, you feel like they're coming with hammers and pliers to cut your fingers off. But even as you want your taxes to be paid, you do it methodically and with full understanding. This organization stands as a shining example of a global justice. The commissioner, without boasting, of course, was saying, we're even better than the IRS. The IRS, which is famed as being the best and all that, and it has its own shady past, but we're better than the IRS. It is one of the most effective, best run and trusted state institutions in our country. In just 5 years, public trust in SARS has grown from 48% to 75%. Now, the recent improvements in business and investor confidence are in no small part due to the diligent efforts of what you have done as the South African Revenue Service. The regulatory environment is a key consideration for investors looking to bring their business to our country. They seek certainty in tax policy, and in this regard, the Ministry of Finance, Treasury, has been consistent in ensuring that our tax policy is well calibrated, and you execute that. And they also seek honesty and efficiency in tax administration, which you have demonstrated over and over again. When S&P issued our first sovereign credit rating upgrade in nearly 2 decades last year, amongst the factors that they cited as being of great significance was strong value-added tax and corporate income tax. But the small print to that was the administration of the tax system. SARS was also instrumental in the work of the multidisciplinary team, whose efforts saw South Africa exit, as one of the colleagues said earlier, the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, the grey listing of our country, we exited due to the work that has been done by SARS as well. Given the heights that SARS it is now in, it is easy to forget the difficult journey that this organization has traversed. You've gone through times of great trial, times of great difficulty. Like a number of other key state institutions, SARS was severely impacted by state capture, with political meddling, mismanagement, and corruption hampering its efficiency. And it was like some people given a mandate, go in with a big sledgehammer and just go and destroy SARS. And SARS was this close to being completely beaten to smithereens. And by so doing, our democracy, our democratic gains, I mean, the things that happened here, and you referred to some of those and you've dealt with them, and you've also had to deal with things like apologies to people. The leadership purges that happened here, where executives and investigators who were very good were pushed out because they were very good at their job. And there were people who were uncomfortable about the excellence that resided here. The destruction of enforcement units that happened here, and the large business center and high-risk investigation units were dismantled. Units that were doing they were just destroyed and dismantled. The collapse of the morale of skilled people here. And it must have felt horrible working here, knowing that someone has been brought in with a sledgehammer or a chainsaw to cut this organization into shreds. Your morale must have taken a real dip. And revenue failure, we started seeing our revenue going down, much as it was talked up all the time, and falsely so. And then there was external interference. And all of a sudden, I mean, all manner of people were now interested, putting their fingers into what SARS is doing and all that. Those were the tough and times that you have gone through. Now, people often say there was a period, and they call it, it's not my term, they call it the Ramaphoria period. Nothing ever happened of it. I mean, if there is anything that came in was state capture we did by establishing the new Gent Commission. That was a deliberate and direct act of stopping state capture. And today SARS is revived, and SARS is what it was, even better than it was at the time. So that's Ramaphoria. And of course, during that period where people were in a hype, they just did not know the depth and the extent of state capture. In other state institutions, state capture had embedded itself so deeply that it took time, and in some ways continues to take time, to rid our country of state capture. That's why corruption continues to manifest its ways through the sinews that were planted at the time. But we will get rid of it. But when it comes to SARS we caught at the right time. And the state capture actors were now going for treasury. They thought that they had finished with SARS, and their next move was to capture treasury. And that too we stopped, because somehow they were quite clever too clever by half, I would say. They were quite clever. They started with a whole lot of other entities, government departments, and of course they started capturing people. And they went for the apex, captured, and then started capturing a number of people, number of departments, number of entities were captured, and thereafter they came for SARS. And what then remained was Treasury. If they had gotten their hands on Treasury, it was game up. It was finished with South Africa. So we were able to stop it in time. And the fact that we intervened at the right time, stopped the moves that had been initiated to capture SARS completely, was one defining and decisive moment of our administration. And in the end, whatever people can say, we stopped state capture. We saved South Africa. We saved SARS. And we saved Treasury as well. Now, Commissioner, you have been involved in a phenomenal task of making sure that we recover, we rebuild SARS. 8 years later, the majority of the recommendations that were put forward by the New Gen Commission have been implemented as the organization continues along its transformative journey to become a smart, modern SARS with unquestionable integrity that is trusted and admired. Now, people often say the president sets up all these commissions and the recommendations are never implemented. Now, I invite everyone in our country to see how, following the recommendations of the New Gen Commission, we have rebuilt SARS. And I invite people also to pay attention to how, even with the Zondo Commission, a majority of what Zondo actually prescribed, changing of laws, changing of processes and how we do things have been done. Of course, even the people who he said should be dealt with are now going through various court processes. And of course, as South Africans, we are at times a little bit blindsided. We don't see the progress that is being made. This country was on the precipice of complete disaster and collapse, and we were able to bring it back. And SARS is the best example of having done so. Having largely achieved a turnaround, SARS at the forefront of efficiency and service excellence, improve the capability of the state, part of our state. And I can say without any shadow of doubt, done a great part in the state through making sure organization that keeps us all alive as South Africans has been rebuilt, and that talks to improving the capability of the state. It has set its horizons on broadening the tax base, improving and fiscal citizenship. And I was asking the commissioner that you've got all these vans now, and I'm glad you moved from the big trucks that you were modeling and to smaller vans that can go anywhere. And I was saying, you want to send them to villages. He says, Mr. President, we want South Africans to be tax compliant. In the deep rural area in our country must become compliant. And this is the type of SARS that we want. If you go to many other countries, and I will not name those countries, you'll find that tax compliance is non-existent. And sometimes that is why their revenues are continuously going down. And with us, our revenues keep going up. And of course, our task, the Minister of Finance, is to capacitate SARS more and more, to give you more firepower, to give you more money so that you can do your work. So you also focus on your own organizational capacity by strengthening leadership and governance, and on scaling up your own modernization by leveraging people, data, and technology. And let me pause on this for a while. Let me start with the people. Commissioner, I was very pleased, and you were not telling me this for the first time when you came to see me at home. You were telling me how you have lived up to my new enemy now. My new enemy is outsourcing. What we have done in our state is to outsource everything that should be done by government. And through that, we have weakened the capacity of the state. We outsource in a number of areas of our government work. We outsource almost everything, from cleaning, from people who even doing the books. We can. Was therefore pleased when you said you found that there was like 750 people who had been outsourced and who were employed by a number of entities who were doing basic, important outsourcing, cleaning work, maintenance work, and all that. And you have transformed that. You've brought them in. And by bringing them in, you've given them dignity. They now have real jobs, and they can be trained. And some you have upscaled their training, and some you have made into artisans, proper artisans, who are no longer abused by contractors. Much as we say we must support small black business, we must. But things that we can do inside, that they should do, we should give them the work. They must do that to great perfection for us. So there should be a good balance. And I'm glad, and I met some of them who said, yes, I was just an ordinary, now a customs official. What a great success. What a great success. Art has actually turned into an empowering institution. And you said very clearly that even those 750 who were outsourced should not lose jobs. And you repositioned them, and you gave them new skills, new hope, and now they are doing much more meaningful work as artisans, even as they continue looking after the facilities here, and some of them are now doing more important work. So I applaud you for that, because to this war that I am waging also wastes money. Money that can be used in the organization to improve. Now, the other thing that I want to compliment you on is the use of technology. And you were the very first government department or entity that started using technology to good effect. And today, what you were demonstrating, which you still will demonstrate, I guess, is how you have utilized technology. And we talk about it, and everybody says, we want AI, we want AI. Then you ask them, what do you know about AI? I don't know. I don't know. But here at SARS, know what AI does. And so you are a trailblazer for us in government. And I often say, and you are demonstrating it very well, I often say, as government, we're slow movers, and I want us to move fast. And I wish we could just transform the whole of government to be SARS. To be SARS. Because you are quick movers, you adapt quickly, and so on. In government, We are even slower than our people. Our people, in terms of technology and in terms of utilizing digital usage, are far ahead than us in government. We are slow. I mean, like a snail pace slow. And yet our people, and even the old people, you know, sometimes I go to the villages, an old person with like a tablet, iPhone. And then I asked one of them, do you get your pension every month? He says, no, I get it. I said, what more do we want? Provincial level, we are way, way, way behind. And you have demonstrated to us as South Africa, putting everyone who is a taxpayer on data. And much better than that, you are actually getting where we are. So you have really to us that revenue collection is both domestic, slower economic growth and higher living costs are the tax base. And this is where your challenge is. Track to achieve a third consecutive primary budget surplus. More room, headroom for. We continue to rely on SARS. Strategic priorities of the Government of National Unity. Economic growth, which is our top priority, high cost of living, and to build a capable and ethical and developmental state. Now, we do not want to burden the future generations with debilitating debt. We therefore welcome the launch last year of what has been dubbed the Project SARS initiative to recover an estimated, 300 billion? What did you say? Yo. Yes. And we need people with vision and ambition. So we call on the ongoing fight and malfeasance in both the public and the private sectors. Directed city economy and other efforts. This critical role, leading role for that matter. And I saw a demonstration of exactly what you do. And as I looked at all those items that are part of the illicit economy, there are so many, and it must be hard, but we need to give you all the support we need. In the past, I used to think that, oh, it's tobacco. It's, things that come in illicitly. But it's much more than that, even toothbrushes. I mean, people even bring toothbrushes, and you and your official to look and say, but this should not be coming in without tax. Minister of Trade and Industry, Patel, there's also a lot of under-invoicing. People bring in goods and say, a whole suit like this. A whole suit like this will be put at 200 Rand. But this suit cannot cost 200 Rand. But you'll never know the price, please. So ultimately, by SARS, you are focusing against illicit trade. But today you've demonstrated, of course, we've got to strengthen the borders of our country. Border Management Agency is doing the great work that it does. We need dinner with with Minister of Finance, hard-working men and women of the South African Revenue Service, here at the National Command Center and around the country, those that I saw on the screen. I want to thank you all for the efforts that you make to keep South Africa going. Without the work that you do, just know that South Africa would grind to a halt. So yours is not an easy task, and we as the nation thank you dearly. Without you, we would not be able to move South Africa forward. So thank you for all what you're doing, and don't applaud, I'm going to applaud. Now, as I end, thank you for doing what is one of the state's most difficult jobs, enforcing tax compliance, taking tough decisions with fairness, with integrity, with compassion, often under extremely difficult circumstances, even under serious and severe criticism. Your role is an invaluable one. You are keeping public services funded and our society functioning. For this, our nation thanks you. I also acknowledge all the men and women in the compliance and enforcement ecosystems who support SARS in their work. The Financial Intelligence Center, the South African Police Service, the National Prosecuting Authority, the Directorate of Priority Crime Investigation, the Special Investigating Unit, and others. Cooperation with the private sector and other stakeholders is important, and it is an integral part of the SARS ecosystem effectiveness. So we acknowledge the role played by the financial institutions and the data providers and administrators. So I want to thank the South African taxpayer who diligently acts in fulfillment of their responsibility to contribute what they should and what they contribute to building a better country. I used to hear in the past where many people would be saying, we want to pay our taxes, where they would say, we want to be compliant taxpayers. I want to continue hearing that message amongst our people, because it is through the taxes that we pay that we are able to make South Africa move forward. Lastly, I wish to acknowledge and thank Commissioner Edward Kisvetter. He stood there and he was singing the national anthem, you know, right with his lungs out. And so I was listening to the Minister of Finance. You know, he was a little bit... And I said, do I match this commissioner? I couldn't match him. And he sang all the stanzas of the anthem in all the languages flawlessly. You sometimes get these people who will sing Nkosi Sikelel' Morena Boloka. When it comes to the Afrikaans part, they mumble. And then they come to the English, then they go up. He was even right through. So, Commissioner, I really want to thank you for your stewardship. You've done a great job, and you won't believe what you have done to reposition our country by saving SARS. Your leadership has truly been vital to restoring the credibility and the integrity of this critical South African institution. So you're leaving an organization that is much more cohesive, that's more efficient, that's capable, and that is trusted than when you took office. The real measure of your contribution is not how much revenue SARS collected during your tenure, but by how well prepared it is for the future, for a challenging future. The country is deeply grateful for your outstanding contribution, and we will forever be grateful to you. This has been an immensely important period that you have made a great contribution to the country. So I really am grateful that you were able to invite me to come. We sat with the commissioner and he was taking me through all the slides at home and all that. And I said, no, but I'd like to come. I'd like to come so that I can see whether you're telling me the truth or not. So today I've seen the truth. The visit is truly insightful. So I leave here confident that SARS will continue to reach the milestone after milestone in its ongoing revenue service with its cutting-edge innovation and agility. A revenue service that South Africa really deserves, and a revenue service in Africa. And you know, in the past, whenever you get a call from SARS, you would just be terrified. That is the SARS that we have today. And Commissioner, it's all due to you. Thank you so much. And to all of you who work here, thank you.
Be seated for a while. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for the address, the inspiring address. It was a moment of reflection. It was a moment of throwing back for us. It was a moment for us to sit and pause for a second.
Guide him.
To look at how far we have come in the last 8 years or so, to also appreciate that there is significant impact that ethical leadership can be able to deliver to the transformation of institutions. It is indeed important that we also note that it was not only an issue of reflection, of giving certainty around what the way forward is going to be. And thank you very much, Commissioner, for also ensuring that in your address you throw forward so that we are clear around the future that is at store for our organization. Indeed, a great future. We appreciate the Minister of Finance for his address as well. Thank you, sir, for addressing us. Come to the end of our program. I would like, before we close, to appreciate and thank that this session becomes a success. I'd like to thank the President and the President's office for ensuring that to make sure that we succeed in hosting this event. I'd like to thank our colleagues at the Ministry of Finance who have also worked tirelessly to make sure that today is a success. I'd like to appreciate the organizers that worked again tirelessly to make sure that today is a success. Can we give them all a round of applause? A quick set of announcements. The President, the Minister, and the Commissioner will leave now, and they will spend some time with our colleagues that are in the overflow environment. It's important to make sure that they also feel the presence of His Excellency, President Ramaphosa. They will take some pictures there. In the meantime, those of you that have got black armbands, you will be ushered downstairs, command center. Those of you that have got yellow armbands, you are requested to stay behind, and Mr. who is the chief usher in this room will guide you in terms of how you move forward. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming in, and I'd like to appreciate your presence. Thank you very much. Our program has come to an end, and we'll allow the President, the Minister, and the Commissioner to leave first, and then those that have got yellow armbands will follow after. Thank you. We will exit in that way, Commissioner. Thank you very much.